We begin with breaking news. The search is now on for 2 male suspects after multiple gunshots were fired at the U.S. Consulate downtown early this morning. Good afternoon. The shots rang out at the U.S. government building on University Avenue around 5:30 this morning. People were inside the building at the time, but no injuries have been reported. The RCMP also investigating, calling it a national security incident. CTV's Rahim Ladani is outside the consulate this hour, where we just heard from police moments ago. Rahim, what can you tell us?
Michelle, Nathan, good afternoon. We continue to get more information about this investigation, and it actually contradicts some of the earlier reports. Right now, there continues to be a heavy police presence on University Avenue. Investigators have now been on scene for nearly 7 hours. As you mentioned, this is a national security incident, and the RCMP official tells us it could escalate to terrorism, depending on the evidence which is gathered in the hours and weeks ahead in the investigation. The first thing I want to show our viewers right now is a picture of the suspect vehicle, which police are looking for. It is a white Honda CRV. Police say it was traveling along Dundas before turning southbound onto University. Police tell us that then that vehicle stopped in front of the U.S. Consulate. 2 individuals came out, produced what appears to be a handgun, and fired multiple shots at the U.S. Consulate. This happened at 4:30 in the morning. Earlier reports suggested that the shooting took place at 5:30. Police now tell us they believe it happened at 4:30. Investigators have seen footage of 2 people getting out of the car, taking a handgun, and shooting at the building. And then they got back in the car and drove off, continuing southbound on University Avenue. It wasn't until an hour later when an officer was flagged down outside the consulate and notified that there had been a shooting incident, and that's where the time discrepancy comes. This is a heavily fortified building with reinforced glass and walls, and police say there were people inside the consulate at the time of the shooting, but it's possible that they may not have even heard it because of how fortified it is. RCMP say they're now working to understand the motivations behind the shooting and any potential link to the recent shootings at multiple synagogues in Toronto. Here's more from the press conference.
We definitely will be looking at any possible connections. Obviously, it is far too early in this investigation, but we do not look at them in isolation. We look at them collectively. And if and how there is something that is found in that to support that, then that will obviously color and direct how the investigation unfolds. But it is not lost on us that the city has unfortunately experienced similar types of events, extremely serious and very concerning shootings at synagogues, and this very much factors into how we will approach this matter as well.
For now, the U.S. Consulate and the Israeli Consulate will see a change.
So why did you choose those 2 consulates specifically?
Well, I think it's fairly obvious based on the incidents that have occurred here in Toronto and elsewhere that these consulates deserve a heightened amount of vigilance and security at this time, in the hopes that we can bring the temperature down in the coming days and weeks.
So you just heard right there from both Toronto Police and RCMP officials of that they are potentially looking into a link between what took place in Toronto synagogues and also the heightened tensions in the Middle East being responsible for what took place here, the shooting incident in front of the U.S. Consulate. But they stopped short of making a formal link. Now, other officials, including Toronto's Mayor Olivia Chow, also made a potential link, saying that anti-Semitic incidents do happen when there are heightened tensions. Have a listen to what she said this morning.
This morning, the U.S. Consulate was shot at. This comes after shootings at synagogues over the past 2 weekends. This cannot stand. Toronto's Jewish community has the right to practice their faith and culture and to live their day-to-day lives without fear, intimidation, or violence. As we have seen too many times, anti-Semitic incidents spike when international tensions rise. It is never acceptable to target the Jewish community. Police are investigating and have my full support, finding the people responsible and bringing them to justice.
Both federal and international partners have also joined this investigation. That includes CSIS and the FBI. Officials also tell us that at this point, there doesn't appear to be imminent threat to the public. Now, you can hear the ambulance behind me. This is a very major thoroughbred in the city of Toronto, and southbound on University Avenue continues to be closed from Dundas all the way to Queen. I did ask officials when this will be open. They did not have a time frame for me. They said this is a very highly sensitive and intense investigation, and so they don't know when this will be open. Once we do get that information, we'll of course share that with you. For now, reporting live, I'm Rahim Ladani. Michelle, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Rahim. And in the meantime, best to avoid that area. In other news, fire crews battled a 2-alarm blaze at an abandoned house in the West End overnight. This was the scene on Albany Avenue near Davenport and Bathurst. There were no occupants in the house. Toronto Fire says it took about an hour to get the flames under control, but the fire has since been knocked down. Crews remain on the scene today to monitor for hot spots.
York police have charged a 40-year-old man in a sexual assault investigation in Newmarket. Michael McAuliffe was arrested last week and is facing numerous charges, including sexual assault with a weapon and sexual assault causing bodily harm. Police say on February 28th, the victim reported attending the home of the accused and being sexually assaulted with a weapon. Investigators believe there may be more victims and are encouraging anyone with information to come forward.
In Scarborough, police are investigating a suspected early morning arson at a mechanic shop and tow yard.
Significant damage was caused to multiple vehicles as police search for those responsible. CTV's Janice Golding joins us live from Steeles and Middlefield with the details. Janice.
Hi, Nathan. Yes, you're looking behind us here. You can see the damage that was wreaked when fire was set here in a parking lot, as you mentioned, in the Middlefield and Steeles area overnight. 8 vehicles in total engulfed in fire. Now, viewer video shows the blaze breaking out overnight. We actually have seen a portion of surveillance video, and it shows the fire being set deliberately just before 4:30 a.m. Witnesses who've seen that video in its entirety tell us one man can be seen dumping some sort of accelerant on a white van in the parking lot. The fire then spreads to adjacent vehicles. The shop's manager says Toronto Fire called her at 5:15 a.m. and when she got to the Sub-Tamil Auto Repair and Collision shop this morning, she was shocked to see the extent of the damage, saying many of the vehicles that caught fire were newer, higher-end models.
Yeah, it's very shocked. Yeah. It's everything like a 2025 Civic, 22 Lexus, 22 Civic. So very expensive vehicles. And
have you told your customers?
I don't know what to tell them.
We don't know more about the thing. So when I came for the walk, like over here, it's my friend's shop. So I just came over here. So it shows like everybody was getting too much panic on that situation.
I left from my shop yesterday, 5 o'clock. And then this morning around 9 o'clock, the cops, they called me. They want to see my camera here, unit number 5. But unfortunately, I don't have any record for that.
Now, the shop's manager says this is the first time that the business has been targeted in the 15 years it's been in operation. The investigation continues. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Nathan.
Thank you, Janice. Just ahead, the price of gas is about to go up again. Coming up, we'll tell you just how much more you can expect to pay next time you fill up. But first, Mayor Chow's executive committee's meeting today, and on the agenda, a concrete plan to tackle the pothole problem in our city.
Councillors set to debate a pothole blitz strategy amid increasing reports of problem spots this year. CTV's Sean Leathong joins us live now from City Hall with the latest. Sean.
Well, Michelle and Nathan, they've already started that blitz, as you say, and they started by talking about what has happened to the city over the last couple of months, with specifically focusing on snow removal this morning, where they mentioned that Toronto actually saw nearly 120 centimeters of snow through January and February, and that's actually double 2025. It may not feel like it, but we actually had double the amount of snow, so they've removed 528,000 tons of snow from the city. You saw the crews going out and removing all that snow and getting it out. That also is double what they did in 2025. Now the warm weather has come around a little bit more, and we're seeing those potholes pop up. Now, Mayor Olivia Chow has been out over the last couple of days talking about what they're going to do going forward, and this morning she was talking about just what they've done in the past few days. Here's a listen. Take a listen.
We heard you. Over the past 2 weeks, we did a citywide blitz, moving crews from snow removal to road repair. Today, 57 crews are out working nonstop to fill potholes. Just a couple of months into the new year, we already fixed over 47,000 potholes. Last year, we repaired 44% more potholes than in 2022. We are doing even more this year.
Now, she also talked about the number of entire roads they're resurfacing being far ahead of where they were last year at this time. Also on the executive committee's list today, they're talking about changes to Queen's Park North. There's been a proposed $50 million donation from the Weston Foundation that would see some charges to the park just north of Queen's Park, and they're discussing whether or not that would go ahead. And possibly they're discussing later on the possibility of giving their approval to an NHL hockey game, perhaps being played at the Rogers Centre. Of course, committee meeting will be going on all day. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. Nathan Michelle, send it back to you.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Sean. New survey finds Olivia Chow holds a commanding lead in the city's next mayoral race after John Tory confirmed he will not run. The new liaison strategy survey reveals a major shift in the city's political landscape. 44% of respondents say they would vote for Chow if she were to enter the race. That gives her an 18-point lead over Councillor Brad Bradford, who confirmed he will be running. Meanwhile, 16% said they'd cast a ballot for Michael Ford. Ford, a former city councillor and MPP and the nephew of Premier Doug Ford, recently said he's strongly considering a run for mayor. David Valentin with Liaison Strategy says despite Chow's lead, Bradford has also seen a bump in the numbers since Tory announced his decision.
Well, the mayor hasn't declared yet. She's got a double-digit lead over Councillor Bradford. And then we're seeing now more support, as John Tory has exited the race, as you mentioned, more support now for Olivia Chow, a little bit more, a lot more support for Brad Bradford. And then Michael Ford has mentioned he might be running, so we're finding some support for him as well. Almost 1 in 3 in Etobicoke, Heart of Ford Nation, saying they would vote for Michael Ford.
Chow is also up 3 points in mayoral approval, while 50% of Torontonians say the city's moving in the right direction.
Outside we go for a live look at the city this afternoon, and just gorgeous. Blue sky, the water is glistening, and the warm weather is sticking around for another day. But these lovely conditions, they are set to take a turn. Say it ain't so, Lindsay Morrison. I saw some kids out there with rain boots on their way to school, and I was like, oh yeah, it might rain.
Oh, it was so nice not to put the snowsuit on the kids this morning, though, I will say. But yeah, rain boots, something you might need not just later today, but certainly tomorrow, and then perhaps the snowsuits a little later this week. But let's talk about the here and now. It is 18 degrees at Pearson Airport. Can you believe it? We have broken a temperature record already for today. We are almost as warm as we were at the warmest point of the day yesterday. You will find it a little bit cooler the closer you get to the shoreline of Lake Ontario, so just be mindful of that. Winds today are coming out of the east, so that's the first change. We're starting to see a little bit of cloud cover develop, and later this afternoon, we expect to see some spotty showers. Now, we are under a special weather statement here in the GTA for significant rain. Freezing rain warnings are in place for parts of cottage country, as well as winter storm warnings in through portions of Quebec. So here's your today at a glance. I know it doesn't look like this right now, but late afternoon we get into some showers, and then overnight tonight it's going to be somewhat stormy. So lots to talk about in your forecast. For now, Michelle, I'll send it back over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, turning now to the Middle East as the war in Iran enters its 11th day.
Iran firing drones and missiles at Israel and Gulf states as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows his country will keep striking that country. An Iranian attack on Bahrain caused heavy damage to a residential building in Manama this morning. Officials say at least one person was killed. Several Iranian drones also targeted communication towers in Iraq's northern Kurdish region. Saudi Arabia says it destroyed 2 drones over its eastern region, and Kuwait's National Guard says it shot down 6 drones as Iran continues to keep up pressure on the region.
Meantime, Israeli forces have launched a series of attacks across southern and eastern Lebanon. Israel warns it plans to operate forcefully against the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah. A UN agency says nearly 700,000 people have fled their homes in Lebanon over the past week.
And the ongoing war in the Middle East has sent oil prices and gas prices surging. CTV's Scott Hurst joins us live with Moore from the National Newsroom with the latest. So, Scott, what else can you tell us about the economic impact of this conflict for Canadians?
Nathan, good afternoon. First and foremost, we're already seeing the impact at the pump. The pinch at the pump has already begun for so many Canadians right across this country. They've seen gas prices rise, and we've already seen that for several days now. But the war in Iran is driving so much market uncertainty, so much market volatility, that if oil prices stay high for an extended period of time because of the ongoing war between the U.S. and Israel and Iran and how it's impacting the wider region of the Middle East, it could continue to have an impact on much more than just gas prices. It could lead to paying more for many other items and products as well, potentially higher food costs, which is already a big concern for so many here in Canada, potentially higher air travel costs, and all of this is stoking fear of higher inflation, putting more pressure on affordability concerns. But it's not just our household budgets. Companies would see their bills jump for the sheer cost of fuel as well. Businesses, as farmers, as producers and exporters, all try to offset their rising costs. So, Nathan, you see the massive ripple effect already across so many sectors and across so many economies because of the situation that's happening thousands of kilometers away in the Middle East and impacting what we pay here at home.
Right. And also, President Trump made comments yesterday about the war being complete pretty much. What impact did that comment have on the markets?
Well, we're seeing oil prices down from all the volatility we saw yesterday, and a lot of that has to do with the comments that the U.S. president made about the war in Iran ending very soon. However, we've seen different timelines and heard different timelines from the U.S. president, from the Israelis, and other U.S. politicians. I want you to listen to what the U.S. president said yesterday, and we'll have more after that.
We're also focused on keeping energy and oil flowing to the world, and I will not allow a terrorist regime to hold the world hostage and attempt to stop the globe's oil supply. And if Iran does anything to do that, they'll get hit at a much, much harder level.
So, Nathan, so much of the concern is focused on the Strait of Hormuz. You've likely heard a lot about that recently. It is the narrow waterway off Iran's coast where a fifth of the world's oil passes through. And so regardless of what the U.S. president might say in terms of a timeline, some economists are telling CTV News that even if the U.S. president might say that the war might end soon or that they might reach their objectives soon, if the Strait of Hormuz stays effectively closed, the markets will have to continue to adjust and adapt to that massive disruption. So we'll still likely see a whole lot of volatility in the markets going forward, Nathan.
All right, thank you. CTV's Scott Hurst in the CTV National Newsroom.
Thanks, Nathan.
And the war is having an impact on gas prices here at home. Roger McKnight with Enpro says the price of the pumps is due to rise by 2 cents at midnight.
If you're looking for a solution overnight by releasing a product from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, you're dreaming. The G7 are going to get together and see what they can do about that, but I think that's political theater because you're never going to be able to get that product overnight to solve this problem. The former presidents have tried to access the Strategic Petroleum Reserve when gasoline prices were too high. That was President Biden about 4 years ago, and it didn't work out.
MPs in Ottawa held a debate in Parliament last night on the Iran war and Canada's position on the conflict.
Prime Minister Mark Carney was not in attendance. His office says he was attending an event for Ramadan. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more on who was there and what unfolded.
The risks of even further escalation are real, Mr. Speaker.
A parliamentary debate on the Middle East, led by the Foreign Affairs Minister rather than the Prime Minister.
In this time of crisis, Canadians deserve to know where the Prime Minister stands. Indeed, they deserve to know where the Prime Minister is.
Anita Anand instead detailed how the government is trying to help Canadians in the region.
Charter flights, block-booked seats on commercial airlines, and buses.
Mark Carney spoke with the American president about the situation Sunday and convened his incident response group.
There's a difference between offensive and defensive activities. And right now, I've made it very clear, the government is not going to be pursuing offensive activities.
The defense minister was there too. Earlier Monday, David McGuinty acknowledged the concern NATO could be drawn into the conflict and says Canada also watching closely how other NATO allies decide to help countries in the area.
The Iranian war now, the incursion led by Israel and the United States, has a bearing on fundamental questions like ammunition supply. It also has a bearing on the situation in Ukraine.
The Liberal government has faced criticism for its evolving position, beginning with stronger support than other allies for the initial strikes and then calling for de-escalation.
Unprincipled, it's been contradictory, and it's been incoherent.
No Liberal MPs were critical publicly Monday as they reconvened for the first time since the strikes.
Just wondering if I can get your comment on the government's shifting stance on Iran.
It could be a different story Wednesday as Liberal MPs come together for their first caucus meeting, a chance to share their views behind closed doors. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
The family of a child critically injured in the Tumbler Ridge shooting is suing OpenAI, claiming its chatbot helped the shooter plan the attack. The lawsuit was filed by the mother of 12-year-old Maya Gabala, who was shot in the head and neck at the school on February 10th. It alleges that OpenAI had, quote, specific knowledge of the shooter utilizing ChatGPT to plan a mass casualty event. OpenAI told police after 18-year-old Jessie Van Rootselaar killed 8 people and then herself that ChatGPT's account, or the account, had been shut down, and she got around the ban by having a second account. None of the allegations has been proven in court. The federal government says it plans to spend nearly $1 billion on defense-related drone research and a brand new aircraft.
CTV senior political correspondent Mike Lecouteur has more on where it's being built and why.
It's a $900 million announcement for defense innovation in Canada. The partnership with the National Research Council will help grow domestic drone and aerospace technologies.
This will allow us to develop new platforms for drone and aerospace technologies, including having a new drone innovation center, a drone innovation hub here in Ottawa at the NRC.
The federal government is also buying a new $500 million Bombardier plane. It's the same aircraft already being used by Saab and a Korean company for defense surveillance.
They're going to intentionally make their purchases in this country by design, by policy objective, and that's a huge reorientation of the way the government of Canada has worked.
It's a welcome change for the Quebec-based aerospace company, pointing out that particular model is truly Canadian-made.
Our aircraft, there's a lot of Canadian content. We have on the 6,500 over 65 suppliers in the country.
It's estimated close to 1,000 jobs are being supported by the purchase of the new Bombardier jet and 6 others ordered in December. The federal government's defense industrial strategy unveiled last month is promising to prioritize homegrown production and research as a way of keeping investment dollars and employment in this country. While it's unclear how many jobs could be created from the drone hub, there is a sense that it could spur hiring in related industries.
Working with the SMEs, that we are going to be helping them so that they can grow and their production, so that they can provide to defense in Canada, but also defense to our allies.
Defense industry analysts say the government's defense industry strategy is off to a good start. But some say if the Liberals want to deliver on their promise, they'll have to make a lot more of these announcements a lot more often. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Well, let's enjoy the sunshine and the mild temperatures while we have them, because there's a decent amount of rain on the way. And if we get embedded thunderstorms, we could see numbers go up even higher. So Environment Canada's special weather statement warning of 20 to 40 millimeters of rain. Take these numbers with a grain of salt. These are highly variable depending on whether or not we do get storms. But again, any significant rainfall amount like that at this point in the season rings alarm bells for potential spring flooding. The ground is saturated from the melting snow, but it's also somewhat frozen. So that means the water needs somewhere to go. Rivers and streams are going to be running high and fast. There could also be some pooling and ponding on local roadways the next day or so. Coming up, we'll also talk about the ice storm potential for communities north of the GTA. That's after the break here on CTV News at noon.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400.
from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
All right, lots to talk about, I guess. There's some unsettled weather, some other things that are coming, some snow, some cold weather, but right now things are kind of mild.
Oh, great start to the day. Kind of feels a lot like yesterday, and let's enjoy it because it's a roller coaster. This truly is the time of year where you have to watch the weather at various parts in the day just to figure out what you're wearing, what you're doing.
And when I think about what we've had already this week and what's to come, I mean, this is an everything but the kitchen sink forecast, really. And today we overachieved. Once again, our temperature soaring above our expected forecast daytime high. So enjoy these conditions in the upper teens. Conditions are going to change as we progress through the afternoon. And then by tonight, we're getting into some storms. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm Injury Lawyers. You don't pay unless they win. Of course, it was a nice start to the day today as far as temperatures were concerned, but we also enjoyed a pretty nice sunrise once again from the CTV News chopper. Look at that glowing sun. Of course, as mentioned, the sunrise time is a little later now, ever since we did our spring forward last weekend. So some darker mornings for early risers, but when that sun has come up, it's been pretty nice the last couple of days. All right, let's begin with a look at the special weather statements, watches, warnings, and alerts that are in place. There's a whole lot of them. For us here in Toronto, it's a special weather statement warning of some heavy rain starting tonight and then continuing through the day tomorrow. If you're joining us from the Bruce Peninsula, portions of Muskoka, or eastern Ontario over toward Ottawa and into the city of Montreal, freezing rain warnings are in place. And then areas north of here, we've got winter storm watches and winter storm warnings through central portions of Quebec. So some very messy weather expected upcoming. We're just starting now to see an increase in cloud cover. Some scattered showers are happening near the shores of Lake Huron and over Lake Erie at this time. We widen things out to show you that our big weather maker for tonight and tomorrow still hasn't quite developed, but it will. There's round one, secondary low comes, and then already, don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but we're watching this one for Friday. And as of right now, it's showing that it could be a little more on the snowy side as opposed to rain. But I digress. We come back to today and tomorrow. Significant rainfall amounts, 20 to 40 millimeters is what we're expecting around portions of the GTA. And again, some areas locally could see more than that, especially if we do get embedded thunderstorms. As far as ice is concerned, yes, ice storm concerns for areas east of Georgian Bay and in through Quebec, with anywhere from 5 to 10 millimeters of ice accretion appearing possible at this point. So there's later this afternoon, very scattered showers around the Lake Ontario shoreline, but overnight we get into the thunderstorms. Watch the pink for the freezing rain through tomorrow morning. Rounds of rain, in fact, for us here locally in the south. And then things will finally start to clear out for your Wednesday night, but then the colder air means the opportunity for flurries through the day on Thursday. And then it'll be more measurable snow potentially for Friday. We are at 18 degrees right now at Pearson Airport. That is our forecast high for this afternoon. So we'll see if we can climb any warmer than that. We have broken a temperature record for today. 15.5 was what we had to beat. Tonight, we look to hover somewhere around +3 for an overnight low. And then there's tomorrow, an unsettled day. Still technically warmer than normal at 8 degrees, but not as warm as it's been. And then your 7-day forecast. We'll jump ahead to Friday. Periods of snow, cooling temperatures. We are also watching Sunday, Nathan and Michelle, for the possibility of snow or rain once again. That's the weather for now. Nathan, back over to you.
All right, good to know. Thanks, Lindsay. A new addition is being welcomed at the Toronto Zoo today, and they're asking for your help to come up with a name.
A baby Masai giraffe is making her first public appearance after she was born late last month. Her arrival extra sentimental because you might remember the sudden passing of her father, Kiko, back in January. Our Jessica Smith joins us live now from the zoo. Oh, lucky you. A first look at this new calf, Jess.
And I don't know what it is about baby animals, but they always just spark so much joy. And this one, especially after, the passing of her father and just the timing of her birth. But we're here joined by Dolph DeYoung. And I want to ask you what it was like, because this is a 15-month process. When these animals, from the beginning to when they are born, 15 months, that's a long pregnancy. What was it like for you guys to finally meet this new addition?
A long wait, and our team glued to their screens. We had video feeds watching this. And I was up till 1:15, and I fell asleep. Missed it when she hit the ground, And then within a half an hour, she was up, she was walking around. Our incredible animal care team were here watching from a distance, and we're just so delighted with her progress.
And when it comes to the naming convention, you guys are working with the Kenyan Consulate to these animals and where they come from. Why was that important to you to include that in the process?
Well, unlike us, these animals aren't from Scarborough. They are from another part of the planet. So we wanted to make sure the name reflects that community, and it's part of our responsibility in caring for these individuals.
Now the public gets to kind of have their say. We've got the list of names, but I want to go over kind of the meaning of them because, again, it is really important to, again, honor the history of the animals, and we'll go over those naming conventions right now. And you said we have Binti, which means?
Daughter, and that's recognizing her father, Kiko.
And we have a couple more here, so explain to me the names.
So I'll just open them up here. We have Imara, which means strong and firm. We have Nyota, which means star, beautiful, a big deal. Nima, grace, if you've seen giraffes move, you know what that's like. And Sana, and that's beauty and art. So all of these, I think, are reflective of our reverence for these individuals and reflective of this gorgeous little girl.
Now, when it comes to the public actually getting to come in, that's happening later this week, just in time for March break. Why was that important to you guys to kind of slowly integrate, you know, the way the people come in here and the amount of noise they make is a part of this too when they're coming in to see the animals?
Yeah, we talk about animals first, and what's really going to happen is we'll have controlled access, 11 till 3 o'clock, assuming mom and baby are comfortable, and we're asking folks to make sure they keep their voices down. There's a lot of excitement and joy. A lot of people don't have the opportunity to ever see a giraffe, let alone a youngster like this, to get to share those moments, collect those memories, and then move on, and again, on their terms. So we may be open, we may be closed at some periods. Keep checking our website, but the goal, starting Friday for our members of the public, 11 to 3.
Now, how long do people have to vote? Because I think it just opened recently, today, is that correct?
Yeah, the naming convention opened this morning, so you have until March 22nd to get your favorite in, and then we'll announce it after that. And we can't wait. It's fun talking about her as a little girl or the kid, but it'll be great to have that name to go with her.
There's nothing better than a baby animal for your Tuesday because, you know, Mondays are hard, but Tuesdays will help. I'll send things back inside to the studio. We're going to keep.
All right. Thank you, Jess. A large crowd came out to celebrate a four-legged legend who got to hit the waves one last time in California. Sugar, the surfing dog, got on her board to shred the waves for one last time this weekend as she continues her battle with cancer. The 16-year-old former rescue dog went from roaming the streets to becoming a 5-time world dog surf champion and the first ever animal to be inducted into the Surfers Hall of Fame. A GoFundMe's been set up to help with Sugar's medical expenses.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is gearing up to return to the role that launched his action movie career more than 40 years ago.
Conan, the Barbarian.
Schwarzenegger revealed at a sports expo that a new Conan the Barbarian movie is officially in the works. No word yet on a release date, but Arnold hinted the writer-director, Christopher McQuarrie, who's known for his work on the Mission Impossible movies, has been tapped to bring King Conan to life. Coming up on CTV News, education in the AI era, how artificial intelligence is forcing teachers and schools to adapt amid a rapidly evolving new landscape.
The World Cup is coming to Canada.
Right before I close my eyes, they have a dream to fulfill.
Canada, this is the moment we've all been waiting for.
That's what they came for!
A woman says she handed over $85,000 to pay down her home, but the money went missing, and now she could lose her house.
The situation prompting a warning from an Ontario protection agency that some companies are accepting mortgage money even though they are not licensed to do so. CTV's Pat Foran explains.
You had one job to do that you got paid to do, you know, and you didn't fulfill that.
Randy Solomon of Scarborough says 2 years ago her father was having health issues and she had fallen behind on her mortgage payments. She decided to deposit $85,000 on her mortgage and found someone who said they could complete the transaction.
The money didn't go where it's supposed to go, you know. That's a lot of money.
Solomon says she gave the funds to Diane Van Rossum. She thought Van Rossum was a mortgage broker, but when she contacted the Financial Services Regulatory Authority of Ontario, FSRA, she was told Van Rossum was not licensed. The $85,000 bank draft was cashed, but is now missing.
When I found out it didn't go to the right place, I was angry. I felt betrayed. And I felt like she didn't do the job that she was paid to do.
FSRA just issued a statement warning consumers not to do business with Diane Van Rossum, saying she's not licensed to conduct mortgage brokering in Ontario, and she has accepted funds but didn't deposit them to process a mortgage. FSRA says anyone seeking mortgage advice or services needs to make sure they're dealing with a licensed professional.
I would encourage consumers to ask a lot of questions of the mortgage broker that they're working with. Mortgages are not easy products.
You can also check FSRA's website to make sure a mortgage broker is licensed to operate in the province.
They can do that by putting in their name or their license number or their brokerage name. I would also check our enforcement database to make sure that the brokerage doesn't have any actions recently taken by FSRA against them.
Solomon says the $85,000 was to help her keep her home. Without it, she's worried she could lose it.
The situation is still the same. My home is still up for foreclosure.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
New survey findings from Interact show nearly 8 in 10 Canadians believe AI is enabling fraudsters to create highly convincing scams faster than ever. It finds more scams are capitalizing on breaking news and current events, making it harder to differentiate between real messages and fraud. In the past 6 months, nearly 6 in 10 respondents say they've experienced a tariff-related scam, including messages about packages being held or delayed, customs or import fees on customs impersonation calls. A quarter of Canadians have also noticed an increase in scam attempts that reference rising cost of living pressures, including overdue bill notices, utility shutoff threats, and offers of government assistance. And the integration of artificial intelligence in our daily lives is undeniable. People using it more frequently at work, in their spare time, and at school.
The landscape of learning is in flux. The rule book ripe for a rewrite to incorporate a technology that is rapidly becoming part of the classrooms for all ages.
Who or what is faster? People or Gen AI?
This generation of students is growing up unlike any other. In an all-new AI era, lessons are evolving beyond the basics.
Yeah.
I see circle or potato.
These grade 2-3 students at Agnes Macphail Public School learning how AI works.
The algorithm searches for something. It searches for
information and its limitations.
Sometimes it can make mistakes.
While these grade 6-7 students are being taught to use it responsibly and think critically.
AI is just using the code that human gave it. I don't know what AI is capable of. How is AI like a toaster?
Tell me.
It's like sometimes when you put like the bread in a toaster, it might get burnt. It's similar to like when AI gives you the wrong information.
Teacher librarian Diana Malashevsky, also known as Miss Molly, is helping navigate the way forward at the TDSB.
When you search for it, make sure you write minus AI so that it doesn't automatically come up with an AI answer.
Her approach is one of curiosity and caution.
I don't want students to think that thinking isn't worth it anymore, that the creative process isn't worth it, because AI could do it so much faster.
But with AI capable of so much now, even generating this bridge right here in the middle of my story, figuring out how to prepare students for the future is complex.
At the University of Toronto, Professor Susan McCann is at the forefront of efforts to integrate AI into education, infrastructure, and operations.
It's a monumental shift.
The chair of U of T's AI task force says AI is here for the long haul, and currently about 95 courses have AI tutors to support learning.
It is upending many of the standard practices that we have honed over many generations of educators. At the same time, it's also offering unprecedented opportunities for new ways of teaching and new ways of assessing learning.
You don't have to search far to find students tapping into the tool, from Microsoft Copilot to ChatGPT and Claude.
I have found that it helps a lot with breaking down my information and distilling information from lectures, but I still find that sometimes it does hallucinate.
In some cases, grappling with what is acceptable use. Brandon Terry is working on his thesis and doesn't want to risk his academic integrity.
How do you use it? Can you use it? What's the most ethical way to use it?
The goal isn't stopping AI, but navigating it responsibly.
The thought that, yes, leveraging AI could be detrimental to learning is absolutely true. It's about how the students are using it.
Professor Toby Grossman and his colleagues have created an AI system called LearnAid, built to teach students with AI, but not replace thinking.
It guides students without revealing the direct solutions.
As Professor McCann sees it, the days of traditional essays are over. She says there's also been a shift back to in-person learning.
You can't leapfrog over learning. Like, learning requires a certain degree of struggle.
Because as AI enters the classroom at all levels, how many of you use AI when you're at home? The challenge, say educators, is adapting to innovation while preserving what makes learning human. Still to come on CTV News, Canada looks to bounce back at the World Baseball Classic, but it won't be easy. We'll tell you who they're facing just ahead. In sports, the Raptors are facing a tough road test in Houston against one of the top teams in the West.
RJ on fire!
Toronto is coming off a massive 30-point win over the Dallas Mavericks on Sunday. The Raps currently sit in 5th place in the Eastern Conference. Tip-off tonight is set for 8 p.m.
They were booed off the ice last game, but tonight the struggling Maple Leafs are hoping for a win in Montreal.
Cycles it off Nylander, and here's Nylander with a break, and Machelli scores!
The Buzz have not won a game since returning from the Olympic break, falling 5-2 to the Atlantic Division leading Tampa Bay Lightning on Saturday. They're on a 7-game losing streak. Puck drop tonight is set for 7 in Montreal.
The Blue Jays continue their spring training schedule this afternoon against the Atlanta Braves. Toronto was victorious in a pair of split squad games on Sunday. The Jays defeated the Detroit Tigers 5-0 in one contest and also shut out the Orioles 1-0 in the other. First pitch for today's matchup is set for just after 1 p.m.
And staying on the diamond, Canada needs a win to stay alive at the World Baseball Classic. They're taking on undefeated Puerto Rico tonight. Canada's coming off a tight 4-3 loss to Panama on Sunday. They made 3 crucial errors in the 6th inning, were out-hit 11-9 in the game, and left 10 runners stranded. Canada now sits in 3rd place in its pool with a record of 1-1. Tonight's game is set to get underway just after 7 o'clock. Coming up, celebrating a milestone by hitting the track. After the break, we'll introduce you to the Ontario Octogenarian, who's marking his 85th birthday on wheels. We leave you with the story of an 85-year-old man from London, Ontario, proving age is just a number.
The avid cyclist celebrated the milestone birthday by taking 85 spins around his local velodrome. CTV's Brent Lale has his story.
Jim Gilchrist is embracing turning 85 years old.
It's partly a denial of the aging process. I don't want to believe it, so I keep going.
The retired oncologist had planned to celebrate his birthday by doing 85 laps at the Forest City Velodrome. He decided to keep going until he lost count.
This track is a godsend because I can ride in the winter.
The reason he held this party at the shortest, steepest indoor velodrome in the world was to raise awareness and hopefully keep the facility going. He rode lap after lap with riders decades younger.
He's a complete inspiration to all of us, and just to keep moving and defy what it means to be aging in this world today. He can ride his bike all the way from London to Port Stanley, and he just does it on weekends for fun.
Born and raised in England, Gilchrist came to the other London in 1971 when he was hired at Victoria Hospital in the cancer clinic. In 1985, CTV accompanied him when he went to Africa with Camp London, spending 4 months in an Ethiopian refugee camp.
I went back for another year. I became obsessed by it and went back for another year.
City Councillor Skylar Frank was on site for his birthday to present him with special recognition on behalf of the mayor.
Oh my goodness.
He then shared a funny story about riding in the United States.
Cycling in the velodrome is a bit different than cycling on the road. Somebody gets a bit wobbly, you yell stick, which says, you hold your line. We were going along fairly quickly in a double line on the road, and somebody yells stick, and I did, and I hit it.
Hitting a stick is far from his most serious injury. Just a few years ago, he needed a hip replacement after a fall while riding in England.
I think every road rider should learn to ride on the velodrome. It teaches you, awareness.
He's drawn inspiration from Andy Christie, who rode at the velodrome until he was 94 years old, and a Frenchman who was riding at 105. Only 2 decades to go to catch him.
I just hope to keep going until, I get so old and stupid I can't find a bike.
Brent Leal, CTV News.
Love it.
An inspiration.
Yeah, inspiring us to keep moving. Weather-wise, we've got something moving in. It looks so nice outside right now, but that will change.
If you want to maybe enjoy a bike ride outdoors today, I suggest the next couple of hours here, because late this afternoon and into the evening, we've got some unsettled and possibly stormy weather on tap. Thunderstorms expected through the night tonight with an overnight low of +3. Tomorrow, 8 degrees is still mild, but not as warm as it's been. And here's a look at the couple of systems that are expected to roll through for your Tuesday night, your Wednesday, and perhaps some flurries for Thursday. We are also eyeing Friday for the possibility of some snow, and also keeping an eye on Sunday for maybe some mixed precip as well. So a very active couple of days ahead. Nathan and Michelle.
All right. Thanks, Lindsay. And that's it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great day.